And then from that point, you recorded your first album, and you managed to do that in Jimmy Page's studio. Man, how was that?
Yeah, that was amazing because that was the first time I met Jimmy. One of the times he came down to the studio, he came down in a helicopter, so that was
Oh
pretty
wow.
impressive, of course. And to my surprise and shock, he was as tall as I am. I'm almost 2 meters, and so is Jimmy. I always assumed because he was so skinny, that he was like a small guy, but that's what people thought of me as well. I could have known because the Gippsland Paul looks as small on him as it does on me. So it was great, and he was enthusiastic about the stuff. And yeah, go on, guys, go on, everything's fine, and that's it. So it was great, of course. And one of the nights, the first night actually, I looked around the studio. I wanted to see if I could find the guitar of his and touch it and look at his amplifiers and all the
Yeah.
stuff, his legendary kit. So I found the tape room and I saw all the 24 tracks of all those legendary Led Zeppelin tracks, even 12 tracks, and like a couple of those really big tapes, of Stairway to Heaven, all those legendary Zeppelin songs. I was man, this was like the holy of the holiest. So I just was there in total awe, and I guess it inspired me, working with the engineer that works with Jimmy as well. So right before us, Bill was from the Stones, what's his name again? Bill Wyman.
Yep.
He just, right before us, he finished the solo album, one of the solo albums where he had the hit single, Je suis un rockstar. And the stories are great. The engineer said, man, he was a serious womanizer for pretty young girls, They said in the morning,
Oh no.
in the morning, like a runner had to take one girl to the airport and wait for the other one to arrive and take that one back to the studio. And that's how it went every day. So he was a pretty virile, horny bastard, this Bill Wyman guy, man.
Jeez. Wow.
But Jimmy, meeting Jimmy, of course, I met him a couple of times after that over the years in the Whitesnake Times, Spent some time with him every once in a while, and one in Tokyo, I remember. But I'm a huge fan, so I really try to keep my cool and not be like a school kid,
Oh, incredible to meet someone like Jimmy. Absolutely. And that record was a huge success, top 100 over in America, huge singles in that. I mean, how did that feel then? You guys coming from the Netherlands, as you said, and rock wasn't the big thing, but you went over to America and you cracked it, and you're doing these huge things. How did that feel for you guys?
Yeah, it was amazing. It's everybody can imagine. The first tour we did was supporting Michael Schenker in England,
Yep.
Which was already great, because we played the legendary Rainbow Theater, where I got Tim Lizzy live at the Rainbow, all those bands, live at the Rainbow. So oh fuck, man, it's going to be great. So that was already great. And then going to the States, the first tour was supporting Ozzy, and I never seen venues that big. It was like 20,000 people. You go, holy shit. So that was like a serious adventure, and Burning Heart being a hit, which I never would have thought, because I wrote it pretty quickly because I thought it would be cool to have a ballad on the album. I love ballads with the combination of acoustic and electric, probably inspired by Jimmy Page, I suppose. Thinking about it now, I never really realized it actually. It probably is. And Free, of course, the company, all the great stuff. So yeah, it was like something I would never have imagined, because we had two bands that managed to break out of Holland in all those years, and they were Golden Earring with Radar Love, song everybody knows. It was top 5 in England, I think, and Focus, legendary, one of the first real prog bands,
Yes.
and they were huge in England and in the States for 3 years or something, because clashing of the egos between Jan Akkerman, the phenomenal guitar player. Every time when I run into Brian May, he asked me, "So how's Jan Ackerman doing?" And Brian told me that he said, "Man, when Focus hit the scene in England, all the top musicians in England went out to check them out, and they were all quite frustrated because Jan Akkerman was way ahead of his time as a guitar player, as a rock player." And funny thing was that a couple of years later, I read an interview with John Bonham, of course, my favorite drummer, and they said, "Well, everybody considers you the best rock drummer in the world. Is there any drummers that you think, that you really like? He said, well, yeah, I really appreciate Pierre van der Linden from the band Focus. So, hey, Brian May, John Bonham, things
Okay.
could be worse. So those bands broke out of Holland before Vandenberg, and that's it. After us, there's one band who does pretty well, I think, Within Temptation, which is more of a prog band with a female singer. I think they do pretty well. But personally, to be honest, I don't really consider that the kind of rock that we're talking about now, like four guys making some serious noise on a stage, because you have so many, those kind of bands have so many backing tracks going on with choirs and violins and God knows what, that whenever I see one of those bands, I don't know if they're actually playing on stage, because you hear so many things. You go, whoa, where's that from? You hear 10 people singing and there's 2 people by a microphone. So it's a little weird.